Oh, and welcome back to my channel. This is Sandra Ferrari. I am really, truly excited to be here with you because I cannot wait to share with you one of the very first deals that I became involved with. Although it was several years ago, I still remember the steps that led me to obtain my very first properties. So I'm going to discuss one of the deals with you. One thing I wanted to touch upon today is it is not really important to actually invest in your own backyard. What do I mean by that? I recall when I started looking at properties, I was only looking at where I live because that's what I knew. But I also knew another factor that was helping me to decide. It was the price point. That is the cost, the affordability in obtaining a property where I could get a loan on it and have a renter move in to pay for all the bills. And at the end, I would have the remaining balance of that income. I mean, at least that rental income that came in to be an actual income, because the rental income basically is once you receive the rent from the tenant, you have to pay all the bills, and whatever's left over will be the true actual rental income. So I wanted to look only at properties that will bring me a good rental income. But when I look at my area, I noticed one thing is that it was very expensive to purchase a property to have it for rent. And on top of it, where I reside, the market is more, how would I say that? It's less landlord friendly. That was a second factor that made me decide to actually go outside of the area that I reside to purchase a property. So my sister and I, who's my business partner, we listened to some folks that have invested before in that area, and we thought, after hearing what they were talking about, it sounded like something that may be of interest to us, especially the cost of purchasing a property. So we decided to go over there, have a visit, and we did. It was such a tremendous opportunity to learn, to walk through properties, to meet different folks, to talk to people in that area. I was wide open. I wanted to talk to people to learn about the city that I was looking into and if it was actually a good fit for me. Because it could be a good fit for someone else, but it does not meet my criteria. My criteria was to get a property at a certain amount of money where I could afford it because I knew that's what I could afford. Secondly, I wanted a space that will allow me to visit that is not too far. You could drive, because that was still one of my concerns because I wanted to be near the property. Trust me, it doesn't have to be, folks. It could be far away from you. It does not have to be right here next to you to have a property to make money. Because once the property is deemed fitted, it will bring you forth the money that you desire, the income that you desire. So it doesn't have to be. But my fear was that, oh my God, it has to be near me. It has to be so close to me. And I want to be able to go see it when I wanted to. Trust me, it doesn't have to be. So this is how Pittsburgh had caught my attention. I had heard a couple members of my local RIA speaking of it, as well as after visiting it, I saw how easy it was to navigate to the city. And it was a burgeoning city. People were alive, happy, said, this looks good. I would like to know a little bit more. I contacted a local broker that I met there. I continued communicating with him after our visit there because my sister and I, we both went there. We exchanged emails, numbers, so we mostly emailed each other. And when we did become serious in looking at a property, we looked to further our relationship by having him sending us almost on a weekly basis. He was sending us possibles, opportunities. We were reviewing them, looking at what was actually fitted, and we found a couple that met our criteria. So we called them and we told them we wanted to know more about that property, to ask the owner to send us all the proper papers, like the expenses that he incurs on a monthly basis, the name of the tenants that were there. So all of this information was forwarded to us, to a local broker in that area. As we began to speak more about the property, we realized that it was more and more becoming something that we're looking for. Although we were new at it, that was one of the the first few deals we're getting involved into. We still were a little bit hesitant, scared, and that is the truth. And I wanted to share it with you because you will go through that. As excited as you may be of obtaining your first property, this could still be an issue. So don't feel that if you're afraid and there's a little bit of fear or doubt, that's absolutely normal. You will go through it. So we continued speaking. We reviewed the numbers. My sister and I, we sat down. We're like, we can afford it. And also, one idea we had was we wanted to make at least $300 to $500 on a monthly basis. That's how we started. Because where we live, our standard of living is higher. Bear that in mind. If you live in an area that has a higher standard of living, but you are purchasing a property which is in a different part of the country where the standard of living is less, you can expect the same rents that you may have been able to obtain where you live. All of this should be factoring in. So that was our deal. We're like, from 300 and above, this is the type of property we want after all the bills are paid, all the expenses are paid for the month. We'll have this left over and we will be pleased with it. That was the goal. Now, part of the due diligence, which I have spoken about before and that are very important, is to look at the numbers that were provided, as well as, please, if you're able to, go and have a walk in the property. You can do that. You will be allowed to do that. Also, when we decided we wanted to take it, we decided as well to have an inspection done of the property. When we look at the age of the property, that was a factor. It was built a long time ago, and I don't remember how long ago that the roof was done. It looks good. I remember when I asked the information from the current owner, he was hesitant. I don't think he knew. And I didn't feel comfortable with the answer that was provided to me. He's like, look, you walked through it. It looks good. That's not good enough. Because something could look good and you don't know what's roaming underneath. So we decided we were going to have an inspection done of the property. It did cost us, we have to pay for it. Who else is going to pay for it? This is going to be the possibility of a purchase. It needed to be done. So the inspection was done and the report was provided to us. We learned what we wanted to know and we decided that it was indeed a property we wanted to purchase. After that, we started working on the numbers because our goal was it's anything from 300 and up. We look at the expenses that was provided to us. And I will tell you, mind the light and the water, especially when you're buying a property and the renter is not going to pay for certain services, electricity, water, gas. They could run this in the hundreds and you won't have any money left. I had asked papers from that, and from what I understand, the property we were purchasing already had a tenant, and the tenant was not paying for those services. Therefore, it should have been part of the rent that they paid, and they told me it was. So I became very cautious. I asked more questions, and I asked for the bills. I wanted to see what the bills were. I didn't just want someone to tell me, oh, don't worry about it, $60 a month. I wanted to see it. I remember the cane light. I asked them the previous bills and they provided that to me. You have the right to see that. Please check those things because those are relevant. This is all going to eat away at the rental income if you don't check this first. Don't just trust trust, I would say, but do your due diligence as well. So we ran the numbers by looking at all the expenses that occur during the month, and we knew that it was a deal that we were going to go forward. So we went ahead, we spoke with the local broker, we told them we were interested in buying the property, and he even in fact connected us with a local mortgage broker. So the local broker was able to connect us with a mortgage broker. And in addition, he also linked us with an attorney because when he saw how serious we were signing papers back, sending them back to him, showing that we were interested in the property. He gave us the name of an attorney that he said he trusted, that he's worked with many of his clients. We called that attorney, we spoke, we felt at ease. We actually hired him to become our attorney because certain states, it does require that an attorney draw up all the paper. In some other state, you don't need an attorney, but in this state, we needed an attorney and we were provided with one. So the team that I've spoken about before, having a local broker, mortgage broker, property management, as well as the attorney, all this could be provided to you. Because when you're ready, willing, and able to make that decision to purchase that property, the broker is going to help you. And this is in turn how we we ended up having a property manager because he also provided us with a name. And he told us you have the opportunity to use him. You could connect with him, meet with him, and see if it was a good fit. We did all that because property management was necessary as we were a few hours away from the property. And this was not part of my dream to become a property management. So this is how we obtained one of the first few properties we had in Pittsburgh. We had it for a couple of years, in fact, and it was great. We learned a lot from this property. We learned that in order to obtain our property, we had to actually make a decision. We had to make a decision, and that decision was look at many properties, keep communicating with the local broker that we met there to send us possibilities, opportunities that he had. We reviewed them. We ran the numbers to see that they met our criteria, as I mentioned before. If you know what you're looking for, you'll know if this is for you or not. So, in fact, you don't have to invest in your own backyard, not in the same city, not in 1 hour away, could be even at 6 hours away, at 8 hours away, or maybe a day away from you where you live. You can invest. So don't hesitate. If you have any questions in building your team, how to keep communication open with your local broker, with a team that will assist you, do not hesitate to put your questions down below. I'm here to answer them. And once again, if you like what you hear and see, please like, share, and subscribe. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.